We're in the council chambers, council, and we're very pleased to be here this evening. Thank you, staff, for being here, and we have numerous councils among us. And we got to get our technology working here correctly. It's been some time since we've used it. We'll begin the meeting at 4:07. We'll call the meeting to order. Members of the public are invited to view this meeting of council by assessing the meeting, which will be streamed live. Members of the public may also attend the meeting in person at the municipal office at 153 Keller Street. I want to welcome our planners, Monteith Brown Planning Consultants here, and we also have Stephanie Poirier, our planner for Southwest Middlesex and for the County of Middlesex. I think at a planning meeting, it would be very good to give a land acknowledgement because we are dealing with the lands which were given to us. It's extremely brief, but it's very important and very sincere. We'll begin the gathering by acknowledging that the land upon which we meet is the traditional territory of the First Nations people who have a long-standing relationship with the land, water, and region of Southwest Middlesex. We convey our respect to our Indigenous neighbors, and we thank them for their contributions to our culture, community, our past, and partnerships in the future. We will ask for a disclosure of pecuniary interest. Is there any member of council declaring a pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? And I have to look in two spots here. Council, bear with me. I have to look at my screen and also at the horseshoe. Seeing none, we will move on. We are very pleased to have members of Monteith and Brown with us this evening. I hope I don't miss anyone, but I think we may have Tim, Jay, and Eric among us. At this time, I would very much like to hand the conversation to Monteith and Brown. You can lead us into the discussion on this planning review, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll just one moment, I'll pull my presentation up here. So I'd like to thank everyone for joining us today for the special council meeting for the official plan review. Again, as Mr. Mayor has noted, my name is Eric Steele, and I'm a planner with Monteith Brown Planning Consultants who are conducting the official plan review. I'm also joined here tonight by Jay McGuffin, who is our principal planner involved with the project. Before we continue, just a few housekeeping items. I kindly ask that those who are not speaking, please mute your microphone, just so there's no background noise and everyone can hear. Also, if you have any questions or comments, we also ask if you use the comment box or please raise your hand to speak, just to help facilitate the process this evening. So the purpose of the meeting today is to provide an update to both council and the public on the current status of the official plan review and sort of where we are currently. I'll also take this opportunity to discuss findings of the background research that has been done to date based on some information we've reviewed, as well as inform the community on policies that are recommended to be either modified or updated as a result of changes to various pieces of legislation and planning policy. And also at the end of the presentation, we'll have the opportunity to answer any questions about the process, next steps, and what these potential changes mean for you. So to begin, just introducing what is an official plan. So it's a document that contains goals and objectives and policies to help guide land use and other development within a municipality. And this plan can include policies relating to various matters that range from urban settlement areas, agriculture, infrastructure, recreation, and built and natural heritage features. So the current official plan was adopted by Southwest Middlesex Council on December 19th, 2007, and was later approved by the County of Middlesex in early 2008. And so the Plan Act requires that a municipality undertake a review of its official plan every 5 years, or in this case, every 10 years after a new official plan is passed. And the purpose of this is to help ensure that official plans are consistent and conform to various legislation such as the Planning Act, Provincial Policy Statement, and also official plan of the County of Middlesex, which is the upper tier official plan. Just to provide an overview of the process and where we are currently. So project launch had been held on April 27th, just to sort of introduce the project to the community and get understanding of what may be potentially reviewed as part of it. And so we're currently at the special council meeting here today to provide an overview of recommended changes based on the research that's conducted to date. And after a review of sort of comments and questions here today, we'll move forward with a statutory public meeting later in August that would bring back a more finalized version of changes to the official plan for council to review. And that would be followed subsequently by an adoption by Southwest Middlesex Council, as well as final approval by the County of Middlesex, and those dates are to be determined at a later time. And so the next slides will sort of provide an overview of recommended policy updates that we have proposed as part of our official plan review. And as well as, based on background research that has been conducted from various documents from both internally of the county official plan review, as well as changes to provincial legislation. And just would like to note that this does not represent the complete and finalized version of the official plan, but just policy recommendations based on work done so far, and additional changes may result as from other comments that are received here today or throughout the process. So as part of the review of the official plan, there are several areas that we're recommending updates to take place. And one is within settlement area policies. And this includes policies relating to settlement area expansions. Municipality is allowed to review their settlement areas during the time of municipal comprehensive review. And so under the PPS 2020, there were additional changes to the criteria for these expansions that may be reviewed at that time. These include, demonstrating that growth can be accommodated within the proposed expansion area. There's sufficient infrastructure to support development, as well as the protection of primary cultural lands. This includes protecting specialty crop areas, MDS compliance for minimum distance separation, as well as mitigating impacts on existing agricultural operations. And so those have all been included as criteria within proposed changes to the official plan to ensure that it is conforming to the provincial policy statement. Additionally, now the provincial policy statement permits settlement area boundary adjustments. And so this requires the creation of a new section within the official plan in order to allow for this to take place outside of a comprehensive review, subject to criteria such as that there is no net increase in land for the adjustment, as well as supporting protection of primary cultural lands, as well as ensuring that the lands proposed to be adjusted can still be adequately serviced, and there's additional infrastructure capacity available to support development in those areas. With regard to housing, there's also several changes that need to be reviewed as part of this official plan update. That includes affordable housing, which was now being included as a matter of provincial interest. And so this has been updated within the official plan within the applicable policies, as well as within goals and objectives of the urban and rural areas to ensure that development applications do have regard for affordable housing as they come forward. Another key change was the introduction of additional residential units. The Planning Act requires that municipalities allow for this type of development within municipalities. And so as part of the proposed update, we're recommending policies that would permit additional residential units in urban and rural areas, subject to certain criteria relating to access to the site, the scale of the development, ensuring that there is appropriate servicing, the location, and also mitigating potential impacts in agricultural areas, such including that these additional residential units comply with minimum distance separation where applicable. Additionally, there are changes to temporary garden suites, also referred to as granny flats, which are accommodations are accessory. They're used for housing family members on a property. And so the Planning Act used to permit these for a period of up to 10 years. And so that's been changed under recent legislation to a period of 20 years. And so we're recommending that this policy be updated. Additionally, the Southwest Middlesex official plan includes specific policies for temporary farm labor accommodations in accordance with the county official plan. And so there are some changes as a result of the county official plan review that need to be incorporated for temporary accommodations for farm laborers. And that includes ensuring adequate road access, appropriate servicing of these accommodations, as well as minimizing loss of agricultural land. Additionally, there have been several changes recently through the county official plan review, which includes growth projections for the municipality, as well as recent data that's been released by Statistics Canada for the 2021 census. And so the official plan currently has policies relating to growth projections within various settlement areas of the municipality. And so we have proposed changes that would reflect these growth projections the county has prepared, as well as existing 2021 census data to ensure that is up to date. Additionally, as part of the population growth projections, the PPS 2020 does now require that a minimum 15-year supply of land is made available within settlement areas, whereas previously it required a 10-year supply of land. And so that policy has also been updated as part of the proposed recommended changes to the official plan. For agricultural and rural areas, one key change that came about as a result of updates to the provincial policy statement was an expansion of the definition of agricultural uses. And so this includes agriculture-related and on-farm diversified uses. And so there's direction that official plans be updated to recognize this change. And so we're changing proposals to amend the official plan that would permit these uses and on-farm diversified uses subject to certain criteria to ensure that development remains appropriate for each individual site. This includes ensuring that adequate servicing, private services are provided for on-farm diversified uses, as well as ensuring that there's no conflict with existing agricultural operations, which may include minimum distance separation being applied, as well as providing confirmation or providing justification that these uses can be located within existing settlement areas. Also, as part of this policy change, has recommended that development applications that propose on-farm diversified uses be evaluated in consultation with the province's guidelines for permitted uses in prime agriculture areas document. And this document provides an overview of these different types of classes of agriculture uses, as well as helps provide direction on what types of uses may be categorized as permitted uses, as well as criteria for evaluating them in terms of their impact on the subject lands as well as adjacent properties. There's also been additional changes to lot creation. The provincial policy statement 2020 now permits lot adjustments for agricultural parcels for legal and technical reasons. And so as part of the official plan review, we are recommending updates to the land division sections of the official plan in order to permit these lot boundary adjustments as part of the consent application. Additionally, recommending updates to the surplus farm dwelling policies within the official plan that would incorporate changes such as providing a 10-year requirement that existing surplus farm dwellings be in existence for 10 years, as opposed to the current policy, which only permits severance of dwellings that have existed prior to 1999. So this would provide a moving date that wouldn't need to be updated regularly, but would provide just a base standard as opposed to a specific year. In addition, it also introduced criteria for regulating surplus farm dwelling severances that are required under the PPS, which include ensuring that a limited amount of agricultural land is removed from production, adequate private services are provided, as well as when evaluating lot size, consideration of the location of existing dwellings and buildings, as well as landscape, open space, and natural features are considered. Additionally, there are changes proposed for minimum distance separation. And so as part of that change, is recommended that the official plan provide reference to the province from AFRA's minimum distance separation document, which provides direction for land use planning matters to consider how sensitive land uses should be separated. And also various MDS requirements have been incorporated to other parts of the official plan, including settlement boundary expansions, on-farm diversified uses I previously discussed, that would ensure that these uses do not impact agricultural areas. For employment and industry, the provincial policy statement has been updated to permit the conversion of employment lands outside of a comprehensive review, subject to certain criteria. And so it's recommended that the official plan be updated to also implement these changes and to be consistent with the PPS. And so these criteria could include ensuring that lands proposed for conversion are not provincially or regionally significant. There is a demonstrated need for the conversion of employment land to another use, as well as considering that there are no negative impacts associated with other existing employment lands, and that there's additional or adequate infrastructure and facilities available to support a change in that development. Additionally, we're proposing recommended policies for sensitive land uses that reduce potential conflicts between employment and industrial lands and more sensitive land uses such as residential units in accordance with policies under the provincial policy statement. And this may include requiring additional studies relating to impacts of air, noise, and vibration, as well as ensuring that any adverse impacts are mitigated to the fullest extent possible when development applications are brought forward. For recreation and open space, in 2021, the municipality approved a facilities and recreation master plan, which was prepared to review the municipality's current existing parks and recreation cultural services and also provide recommendations. And so as part of that study, there are several recommendations are made to be updated as part of the official plan, and one of which is providing an alternative cash in lieu of parkland rate of 1 hectare per 500 dwelling units. And this would be applied to medium density development that's maybe proposed within the municipality. And this would be in keeping with changes in the Planning Act, which permit this alternative rate to be provided. Additionally, as part of parkland suitability, the recommendations that further criteria be included within the official plan that will ensure that future parkland dedication does function well in terms of a park space. And that includes introducing criteria that would ensure there's adequate size, road frontage, as well as ensuring that land that's dedicated isn't part of environmental sensitive or stormwater facilities, and that these lands may be dedicated as part of a development application, but they would be over and beyond the required dedication rate. And this would ensure that there's adequate lands being made available for parks and recreation uses within the municipality. In terms of changes to resources, while the municipality does not have known deposits of aggregate materials, it does contain policies relating to aggregate extraction, and so therefore it must also be consistent with the provincial policy statement. And so as part of that, as part of it being in conformity, we propose and recommended changes for resource extraction to ensure that where it's permitted in prime agriculture areas, that those lands are rehabilitated back to an agricultural use to the fullest extent possible in order to preserve those agricultural resources. Additionally, for cultural heritage resources, we're proposing to include additional policies to further protect cultural heritage resources, such as heritage designated properties, as well as reference consultation with indigenous communities for the preservation of archaeological resources as required by the provincial policy statement. And so these have all been incorporated as proposed policy updates recommended for the official plan. Regarding natural heritage, climate change has now been added as a matter of provincial interest under the Planning Act. And so these references have been made within the official plan in order to promote addressing climate change as part of land use development, ensuring that it's consistent with provincial policy statement. Additionally, the Middlesex Natural Heritage Study of 2014 was also prepared and includes several recommendations for official plans. And so this includes recommendations that this document be referenced as the most recent version of this of the study, and that it be used to evaluate impacts and development applications that potentially affect natural heritage areas. Additionally, the county official plan and the natural heritage study both incorporate policies to recognize that there are limits to evaluating natural heritage areas, and that also the official plan include policies to require a development assessment report to be used as a tool to identify significant heritage features that have not already been identified as part of development applications. Section 5.4.3.5 of the official plan contains policies for a special policy area of Crystal Lane. And this is an area that was affected by or lies within the significant Thompson wetland. And any development requires approval of the Lower Thames Conservation Authority. And so a development agreement for undeveloped lots that are currently existing in Crystal Lane were updated in 2014 that require certain matters to be addressed. And so we were recommending updating this section of this official plan to address these additional matters. And they include addressing potential impacts to groundwater, ensuring adequate stormwater management, preservation of natural heritage features, ensuring no negative impacts to species at risk, and providing additional adequate servicing. Additionally, Thompson wetland has been included as an ongoing deferral from when the official plan was approved in 2007, and this relates to this deferral relates to the classification of this wetland that was changed from a locally significant wetland to a provincially significant wetland. And so it's understanding that this has been since resolved and can be removed as part of the official plan review. And we note that there may be certain schedule amendments that may be required in consultation with Lower Thames Conservation Authority. And some general policy changes. Again, as previously noted within my presentation, there are matters that have been updated as part of provincial interest under the Planning Act that need to be incorporated, and that includes affordable housing, the built form, encouraging sustainable development, as well as pedestrian-oriented development. And so those have all been included and updated as part of the proposed recommended policy changes. Additionally, introducing matters of active transportation as required under the provincial policy statement and county official plan. And so we're proposing policies that would promote active transportation as part of land use planning and future development within the municipality, and also incorporate defining the term in conformity with definition under the provincial policy statement. We're also proposing additional changes regarding application submissions and outlining the potential requirements for development application submissions. And so within various sections regarding official plan amendments, consents, and zoning bylaw amendments, we have included additional wording that would outline potential studies that may be required for its applications. And this would provide indication or information beforehand of what may be required as part of an application submission. Provides greater information and awareness to those filing development applications. Additionally, changes to the Planning Act have amended matters that can be regarded and regulated through site plan control. And this includes having regard for accessibility for disabled persons in the design of buildings. And so we recommend this policy be incorporated within the official plan update. Additionally, under Bill 109, the Planning Act now allows for municipalities to require applicants to consult with municipalities prior to submission, as well as require additional information that may be provided as part of an application submission. And so to ensure that this pre-consultation occurs, as well as provide opportunity to review before an application is submitted, we recommend these policies also be updated as part of the official plan review. Finally, the county has conducted a review of its source water protection policies, and so through a source water protection background report. So part of that report, the recommendations for official plan and policies to be included, which outline protection of surface and groundwater resources, as well as contain additional policies and language to strengthen protection of water quantity and quality, and identifying, maintaining, and protecting or enhancing groundwater features and natural heritage features that may exist within the municipality. That includes an overview of recommended policy changes. In terms of next steps, we'll take or help review any kind of comments or feedback received at the meeting today or through the process, and incorporating that into preparing a final draft of the official plan amendment. And that would be brought forward at the statutory public meeting with a presentation of these final policy changes that are recommended to be included as part of the official plan review. Again, as previously noted, after the statutory public meeting, we would look to moving towards council adoption as well as final approval by the County of Middlesex. And so as the project progresses, additional information will continue to be posted online. And should there be any questions or comments, you're certainly welcome to provide them to contact information provided here. With that, then concludes my presentation. I'd like to thank everyone for attending today, and would you welcome any comments or questions at this time.
Eric, thank you very much for your presentation. It's an interesting document. I'm sure there will be questions from council on that. Perhaps we can introduce them right now. We have kind of a split audience here tonight, but we're going to try to enlarge the screen of mine. Councillor Bartlett, I see your hand up on the screen. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Mayhew, to Eric. You had mentioned employment land conversions. Can you just explain what employment land is, please?
Certainly. Through you, Mr. Mayor. So employment lands are lands that, or it's a term identified under the PPS. And so it refers to employment lands that are sources of commercial or industrial uses and provide employment opportunities throughout a municipality. So this would include currently designated industrial lands or commercial areas within settlement areas of Southwest Middlesex.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bartlett. I'm looking for hands on two sets here, and look, yes, Councillor Vink, please go ahead through the chair.
Thank you, Mayor Mayhew. To Eric, under housing additional residential units, can you define that a little bit further? In other words, does that mean you could put up a second house on a farm?
Certainly through you, Mr. Mayor, with regards to additional residential units. So the criteria that is proposed as part of the official plan review comes from mainly from the county official plan. And so it would permit additional residential units within settlement areas as well as rural areas, up to a maximum of 3 units. So it'd be the primary dwelling unit, an accessory unit within the primary dwelling, as well as potentially a separate accessory unit within a separate building. And so that also introduce certain criteria regarding its location and size that would be permitted, and may also include specific zoning policies that would help further regulate those lands or those uses.
Yeah, thank you, Martin. Council, and we'll go on. Councillor Cowell, please go ahead.
Thank you. Through the chair to Mr. Steele. My question is a follow-up to Councillor Vinks. I think you may have clarified it for me, but when I was reading the information about the additional residential units, I got the impression that it was only permitting additions to an existing dwelling, but it sounds like you could have an additional dwelling separate from the current unit on the property, if there was space and setbacks could be met and all of the other things, but that you could actually build a separate house for someone to live in. And the reason I brought that up is because Chatham-Kent has just gone through their official plan process and has allowed additional residential units not specifically attached to the main residence. And so I just wanted to have clarity on that. Please and thank you.
Certainly through you, Mr. Mayor, CS that a additional residential unit may be permitted within a primary dwelling as well as within an accessory building that would be detached from the primary dwelling.
Yeah, Eric, I apologize, a technical glitch here. I'm wondering about the word biosolids, human waste, Eric. We're concerned about the storage of such units and how to protect the ground source water protection. Is there any reflection on that, Eric, for biosolids and how we can have some control on them as per being in a covered building or something of that nature? Does that ever come through your reflection?
Possibly.
Oh, yeah, I see Stephanie's hand up. Go ahead.
Thanks, through the mayor. I would just note. Oh, it's me. There we go. So I would just note that the Southwest Middlesex official plan should be consistent with the PPS and the county official plan. And that is a topic that is covered within the county's official plan. So I think that it is on our radar to have a further look at.
Yeah, thank you, Steph. Yeah, I was aware of that through the discussions of the county and just wanted to see if it was on the radar. Yes, by all means. Please go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Mayhew. The county's working on their official plan. I've seen it, but it isn't totally implemented yet, right?
No, I have not. It was a creative document. The county plan has, and some aspects of it have had opinions expressed by council, but it is not a done deal by any means. It is still a work in progress. But farm size has certainly come up in the discussion. Biosolids have come up in the discussion, and much of the public opinion was studied very intently. Particularly the word primary industrial agricultural land. It seems like all of the land is classified as primary agricultural land. And as you know, Councillor McGill is a farmer, that there's some land that is better than others. And there seems to be a designation that, you know, the vast majority of it. So we're looking at that as well. But no, it is still a work in progress. And I think will be until probably late August.
Yeah, so can I ask a follow-up then? So that was my understanding of it too. So what we're doing here today is just very preliminary, because until the county has their plan passed and it's basically a done deal, we can't really finish our official plan, correct?
We'd like to be in harmony, but there are some parameters that we can change. I think Jill and Eric would be best to answer that question. And the chair will entertain any of their hands if any goes up to give you a more wholesome answer. Councilor McGill. Eric, would you like to address that?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So yes, the Southwest Middlesex official plan will need to be consistent with the county official plan. Currently, as I understand, it has not received final approval from the county, but was endorsed, and so as part of that, once the approval is given, it would proceed to the province. And so these policies proposed here tonight are preliminary within the official plan review process. And so if there are any additional changes that come about as the county official plan review progresses, that would affect the Middlesex County or the Southwest Middlesex official plan, that those would be revised and incorporated within the final proposed policies.
Thank you, Eric, and thank you, Mark. Last call for questions. Yes, go ahead, Councillor Cowell, please.
Thank you. I believe within the last year, landowners who have property outside of Southwest Glencoe reached out with inquiries associated with the land they'd purchased that's zoned commercial. And it's sort of like a highway commercial funny type of zoning. And they were interested in potentially having the zoning changed, but advised that the best way to do that might be through the process of the official plan. Is there any type of, is this the time when they can reach out to us and give us this information? I know we have the meeting in August. Is that when we should invite them to bring forward their concerns or questions, or is that something that we're taking care of as a part of our official plan? Can either of you folks provide a little bit of insight, or do you need a bit more detail about what I'm talking about?
Eric, would you like to answer that?
Through Mr. Mayor, perhaps to clarify, if it's a matter relating to the zoning of the site, that would be dealt with through the zoning bylaw, not through an official plan review. It's my understanding the scope of this project is just to primarily do updates regarding changes to provincial legislation. And so we, as part of the scope of the project, are not considering site-specific requests for changes to official plan designations.
Okay, thank you. I'll watch my screen. We'll watch the horseshoe. Are there any other questions? Councillor Cowell, I see your hand up. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. As a follow-up through the chair, I think that because the type of zoning that they have, it was something that was site specific, and that it was part of the official plan to require a certain amount of land with that type of zoning. And I think that their understanding was looking at changing it to residential, and they were advised that at this point, they wouldn't be able to get it rezoned because of the fact that that would go against the official plan. And so the suggestion was that if we made changes during the official plan, then they could have the zoning changed. And that, again, it's not something I'm super familiar with, but it was very specific to this planning process because of the nature of the zoning. It was a unique type of highway zoning, funny type of commercial property.
Eric, you're certainly welcome to comment on that. I think it was directed towards you, but you certainly can choose to or not. Yep. Or Jay, I see your hand flickering a bit there. Mr. McGuffin, how are you tonight?
Very well, Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much. Maybe I'll just step in. The situation that Councillor Cowell is referring to is one that would be handled in a number of different ways. If it was a site-specific request, it would go through an actual application for an official plan, bylaw, and zoning amendment, and be heard on its own merits and evaluated on its own merits. With regard to the larger piece of including it in a settlement area boundary, that is part of a comprehensive review. And although the municipality is currently examining its official plan, the information provided to us by the county is that a land analysis has been undertaken and demographic analysis undertaken to identify demand for land, And we've been provided information by the county that indicates there is no demand to expand the settlement boundaries in the municipality, and as such, that does not form part of the scope of this work. So it sounds like a very convoluted answer to what should be a very simple question. Effectively, I think in the context of the settlement boundary, that is not being considered by this process and will likely not be considered for another 5 years at the next comprehensive review.
Thank you, Mr. McGuffin. Yeah, and any further questions? Eric, if I could just mention the building height, is that part of it? Height restrictions? There are certain limitations to how high we can go in a building, and because of the opinions that we need to put more people on less area sometimes in official plans to not impact agriculture. Does the height of a building come up in this official plan? Is there any discussion on that?
Mr. Mayor, we have not reviewed policies regarding height as part of this official plan review to date. I cannot recall at this time if there are specific policies relating to restricting height development, but we can certainly confirm that and provide additional information. It's my understanding that there is no direction to modify any kind of policies relating to building height.
Thank you. Just to follow up to that, if an interest came in for multifamily housing and the footprint was a 4-story building, for instance, that is what I'm referring to. That if in the event that inquiry came in, where we have smaller pieces of land within the municipality, and sometimes to make it economically viable, you have to go up a couple of stories to increase the revenue, and that's where the question comes from. And certainly can comment on that, Eric, if you wish.
Certainly, that if the official plan does contain policies regarding regulating the scale and appropriateness of development. And I would note that there are also policies within local zoning bylaws that also regulate height and provide regulations to ensure that development proceeds in a manner that is appropriate for its context. So those tools are also available to help regulate and control different types of development within a community.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Jill, please go ahead.
So just to add to the comment with respect to height, sometimes the limitations have to do with emergency response and whether or not a fire department has the capability to respond to certain heights. So when we're evaluating those type of proposals, that's one of the considerations that we make, and that may be where limitations come in.
Thank you, Jill. Those are wise words and much appreciated. Yep. Mark, you're hiding behind a computer screen here. I have to kind of reach out and see you there. Everyone looks like they've had a chance to make their inquiries. Last call for questions. Seeing none, we will move in. I would like to thank Eric very much. Jay, certainly your presence is always, you're the quiet guy in the background with a great deal of knowledge, and it doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you very much. And we'll certainly move on. Okay. Following the presentation, council does have some business to do. There has been a presentation that has given a background report and recommendations of the official 5-year plan update presented by Monteith Brown Planning and Consulting. It is recommended that the municipality has an official plan, which was last updated in 2007, and whereas the municipality is using the services of Monteith Brown Planning Consultants to undertake the official plan review. Now, therefore, be it resolved that in accordance with sections 26 of the Planning Act, Monteith Brown Planning Consultants be directed to carry out an official plan review, and that the comments from the members of the public be received for consideration by staff and Monteith Brown Planning Consultants for the development of this official plan that's forthcoming. Can I have a mover for that recommendation? Moved by Councillor Schultes. Is there a seconder? Councillor Choi. Follows discussion now, council. Any discussion? Chair will call the question. All in favor, please raise your hand. Yeah, thank you. Recommendation is moved, seconded, and carried. Proceeding on our agenda to number 4, council, we're at bylaws. We need a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the special meeting of council on June 22nd, 22. May I have a motion to confirm the meeting? Call again. Yes, thanks, Councillor Kyle. The seconder, confirm bylaw. Councillor Schultes. Discussion. In favor? Okay, check 2 spots here. It's done. Council, thank you very much again for your attendance. Staff of Monteith and Brown, thank you very much. And we certainly thank staff of Southwest Middlesex for helping us prepare this, the staff and administration. We couldn't do it without you. We will adjourn the meeting at 4:53.